Terraria. A peaceful, yet brutal game where you build up strong and fortified bases, craft gear, and defeat the many bosses the game has to offer. I went ahead and challenged myself to survive 100 days in hardcore Terraria, meaning if I die once I would lose everything and have to restart. But with a twist. I have added a ton of mods to make it even harder. Like this big blue bird, or this, whatever this is. But before we start, I have an announcement. With this video I am celebrating my 1-year anniversary of being on YouTube with you guys. And with the new Abaddon update for Calamity, and the Don't Starve crossover for normal Terraria, well, what better way to celebrate 1-year anniversary than with this. Anyways, this video was inspired by my first ever upload on YouTube. But I guess it's as always inspired by Luke the Notable's videos. And Average Adrian, who made the 100 days in Terraria stand out. Now without any further things to say, let's see how many days I survived in Terraria, with a bunch of mods to make it harder. Day 1 started off like any other. I made my character, loaded up my world and started chopping down some trees. Then I carved at the ground for my giant wooden NPC hotel and started the construction of the base. I also made some new overpowered modded gear. Night came around the corner and I used this opportunity to keep constructing my base and to test out my modded weapons. Also, one quick notice, I have no idea what any of these mods are. So I had no idea if this green summon boy is an addition to like Thorium or something. But I'll leave all of the mods and its versions down in the description, so you can check them out down there. Anyways, it's day 2 and it's time for some exploration. First off, I found this hole with a chest and looted it. And then I went through the desert and found some sort of swamp with skulls inside trees? I harvested this new wood because I thought I could get some modded gear out of it. Which indeed I could. So I got a nice set of armor. And a sword. I then traveled through the briar, because that's how it's called. Harvested some more elder bark and stumbled upon the jungle. After returning back to the NPC hotel, it was nighttime. And since this isn't Minecraft, I safely took the opportunity to start digging straight down. I also found this new ore. Day 3 and I converted those ores into bars, organized my inventory and my chests, and I explored some more. A corrupted snow biome. Yay. Anyways, I didn't want to deal with the corruption yet, so I just sealed the cave off and saw a floating chest. Oh no. Which apparently duplicated itself. No idea how. After that I looted some more and explored some more. And returned home on day 4, where I converted my ores into bars. And I saw something amazing. Say nothing more. I sorted out some more of my loot and chests, and made the guy take a look at some new resources. That frigid armor looks quite nice to have. So I returned to the frozen corruption to kill more enemies. And oh boy did the pistol help me out. Why? Ah! So like a coward I teleported home and worked more on the elevator, when I came across a minecart track, which led me back to the underground ice biome. Oh, that's a relief, means I don't get attacked by this thing anymore. Day 5 I then returned to the base and crafted a... ice? Oh no. Oh my goodness. Exactly, an ice flute. After that I just stayed on the surface and continued to make more NPC buildings. Because this isn't Terraria 1.4. So what's happiness? I also crafted some sort of ice totem and placed it down. Then I added a layer of stone to make the base look a bit less disgusting. At the dawn of day 6 I returned to my elevator, which led me to a mushroom biome. As I continued the elevator to the underworld, I also cautiously explored the nearby caverns for looted ores, which I would say went pretty successful. Until I got a bad luck curse from some sort of shrine and got a heart attack. But I kept going and found this giant golden bat, which I sent right back to the hospital. Later I found another bat and also sent it to the place of death. I then also hit the jackpot with this gold chest. Finally. Once I returned home, I saw that more townsfolk moved in. Modded ones too, including this chick, who sold me quite a nice accessory. 10% reduced damage, but 15% increased crit strike. I'll take crit strike over damage output anytime. On day 7 I actually grew a spine, and went into the corruption to blow up a shadow orb for a musket. Which went very well for me, and we got it. Now that I had my brand new rifle, I returned to the frozen caverns to kill more enemies, for their icy shards and frigid fragments. With my new frozen loot I crafted some better gear, including this ice scythe, but I needed more. So on day 8 I again returned to the icy underground. But this time I actually went exploring, and stumbled upon the shiny new Thorium ore. Thorium ore? I also found another shrine, but this time I was blessed with good luck. I killed some more, mined some more, and looted some more. I returned home on the night before day 9, and with my bucket load of loot, I crafted a lot of better gear. Apparently there also is thorium armor and gear. So, my trip to the Arctic was basically useless. I mean, this armor would have been so much better anyways than this frigid stuff. On day 9 I took a look at this fancy little book, and saw a boss that was even easier than King Slime. The Grand Thunderbird. I crafted a summoning item for it, and then went to the desert to make a small boss arena. But considering it was even pre-King Slime, I made it not that big. And then I fought a Thunderbird. It's a bird! Okay. Now, just so we are clear, I am not going to include any full boss fights in this video. Because if I were to do that, this video would probably get too long. So I made another video where every single boss fight is shown. You can find the link to it down in the description, or by clicking the card up there. After defeating the Thunderbird, I returned to my base and look at the checklist again. See what I should fight next, when something quite unfortunate happened. I think my game just crashed. Yeah, I cannot do anything, it's frozen. So I did the boss fight, and look there, the torches are still going. The music, still going. Also. Luckily when I rejoined, it didn't reset too much. Except that it registered as if I left the fight, because my summoning flare was gone, and I had active buffs, but no treasure bag. I crafted a new flare, but saw the day was almost over. So I returned to the caverns in search of thorium ore. And eventually, my elevator got wrecked due to an unbreakable ore. On day 10 I quickly came up to the surface, and fought the Thunderbird again. And even though there was a sandstorm, it was over just like that. I then set my sights on getting full thorium armor, which I managed to craft after one whole day of grinding. On day 11, yeah, a goblin army. So I quickly set up an arena, and here we go. And that was the modded goblin invasion. After the invasion I then crafted the thorium packs and made the arena bigger. Then I made a gang sign. And I bought the mini shark. The following day I found the goblin tinkerer, aka Greedy Bat, and bought the rocket boots. At night time I further expanded the arena when I got a visit from an old friend. I would like to say the fight was challenging, but it really wasn't. I'm glad I got the shield though, and this spinny boy. On day 13 I decided I wanted to explore the unknown parts of both sides of the map. Here's the summary of everything I saw. The left side had a desert with a strange temple, a second corruption, a giant tree, an enchanted sword shrine with the enchanted sword, and the dungeon. And the right side had a huge jungle biome, and another corruption next to the jungle. What? I made a medium-sized world and it has 3 corruptions. Well, that will be fun. Anyways, the right side also had a small desert with a bandit's lair. And a modded ocean. I wanted to break in there to mine its blue and shiny ores, but my pickaxe was too weak to mine the blocks. So I returned home. I started the next day off by setting up a dirt road next to my arena to have a tree farm. And by making more homes for townsfolk to come and live near me. For the house I also used Jew wood, which I got from the goblin invasion. Later that day I chugged down a gravity potion and went up into the sky. And I found 3 skylands. Get it? It's an island in the sky, yeah? Day 15 then started by the game throwing another invasion at me. But I gave the game the middle finger and kept on working on making the elevator deeper. And this one unbreakable block would not stop me. I also found a spider cave and Viscount's boss arena. Down there I also almost lost my life due to my arrogance. That was probably one of the closest deaths in this run. And while I'm editing this video I can still remember that excitement that I had back there. On day 16 I decided to fight the goblin army again. After that victory I collected my loot and put them in the chest. On the night of that day I also crafted a mysterious tablet and fought the key. Oh my god. Which wasn't quite challenging for me. On day 17 I headed into the underground jungle for stingers, jungle spores which could be dropped by these things, and vines from man-eaters. After getting those items I crafted another spawning item and for Thorn, Bane of the Forest. Oh god. And that marks another one done. Strange. I explored the underground deserts, increased the power of the Ice Fruit gang, went on a roller coaster, and it's day 18, where I found Grim, my second favorite NPC. Now you might be wondering why. Well, just look at these sails. So I stopped with everything I was doing and constructed a place for Kappa. Later I also killed some overgrown ice for loot. Day 19 started off by giving this guy some rare flowers, hopefully for some nice colored eyes. But I had some bad luck, I guess. Then I also bought another painting from Grim and placed it under the base. While it was still raining, I also expanded the arena. I also crafted and placed down a shameless plug to remind all of you to subscribe already. Please, you guys can help me reach 10,000 subscribers, which would really mean a lot to me. Then I also opened up another shrine, which spawned in a crimson biome. The next day I settled on making the danger armor set, and I tried it on. But after that I literally put it in a chest and never used it again. And I decided to build the largest NPC hotel that you have ever seen. The construction even went on to the day after that. But I didn't have any more Jew wood to continue, so I went into the briar to harvest that wood, and well, I got distracted. But at a certain point I remembered what I was doing and teleported home. And on day 22 this is what the end product looks like. My decision then was to explore the underground briar some more, since I wanted to see what the spirit mods had to offer with this biome. I soon found a new kind of ore, a new NPC that I freed, a cavern, which soon turned out to be another boss arena, and I fought and defeated the mini-boss. On the night of that day I also started making the bridge for the Eater of Worlds. And once I was back at home, I got very lucky with a pumpkin. The new NPC also wanted me to do side quests, so I did a few. And the next day I got another boss summon, for this boy, Scarabus. which I decided to challenge for dominance. Now this little desert bug might have had one of the most pleasing boss fights for me. It had amazing visuals, difficulty and an amazing soundtrack. It was extremely fun, and the expert mode drop from him was nice as well. After that I also discovered I had a new NPC in town that could empower my weapons with glyphs. And of course I put one on my mini shark. At the start of day 24 I killed the slimy boy, and later fought the decree in the snowy corruption. Now this Wolverine guy actually pulled a Uno reverse on me, and instead of dying it continued to fight in its empowered state. It was quite the challenge, but eventually I won. And I made a brand new armor set, with the fur it gave me. On day 25 I made some tasty worm food, and oh not again! Just skip to the end of the fight when you're editing Legends. The next day I fought a corruption worm, but with my empowered mini shark, ranger class armor and status buffs it wasn't all that hard. That was so good. Now this victory means a lot. First of all we got the worm scarf, my favorite boss expert loot drop. We can craft a nightmare pickaxe, allowing me to mine a lot of new ores, and I made the elevator straight. It was a very good day to say the least. On day 27 I started the Great Cave flooding, and found my third favorite NPC, a noob, who sells you an infinite amount of dirt for nothing. And later I started the grind of getting Hellstone, to craft some fiery new gear. I decided to make the Molten Thresher, and my own Demon Altar. I obviously also got the Molten Pickaxe. The day after all that grinding I returned to the modded ocean. And would you guess it? The new pickaxe had enough power to mine into the surface of the abyss. After getting a good amount of aquaite and exploring the deep blue I returned home. And was able to craft a new AK-47 shark rifle, which I empowered with a new glyph, the Unholy Glyph. And the next day I tested her power out against this strange portal. Behold the Seed of Infection! Good night. After that I took a good look at my checklist again, and decided that I wanted to fight the Vinewrath Bane from that red flower in the briar. So I chopped down all the trees in the tree farm and went to the underground mossy cave to build my arena. My insane luck also tuned in for a visit. What is this? An enchanted pickaxe. With this pickaxe, clearing up space became a breeze. But it wasn't until day 30 that I was able to place down my wooden platforms. I then got some potions, and on day 31 I disturbed the red flower, which summoned this mutated plant. It gave me quite a battle, but it lost due to my supreme gardening skills. And apparently its defeat removed the permanent rain, so I went to check if that was true. After that I learned about the moon jelly wizards, and that I needed some kind of creature from the jelly deluge, an event that rarely happens at night. So I made a little platform, and I refilled my ammo stock. After that, I expanded the Hell Bridge, and I also nearly died again. On the night shift I also made the Molten Fury, and discovered something quite nice. Day 32 and it looks like we are in the jungle to collect the resources for the Jungle Bow and Jungle Scythe, which I both crafted once I was back home. I also checked the boss checklist again, and found the Jellyfish Queen, who became my next target. After getting the materials I crafted a summoning item. Then I headed to the ocean to make an arena and victory. On day 33 I obviously went to the ocean, but on my way I found yet another mini-boss. After that I finally made the arena, but it was quite late, so in the meantime I built a tribute for an old friend. The next day I finished the building and fought the ruler of all jellyfish. And after that I made some more room to fight Viscount. Day 35, and as you can see I fought Viscount. It's in bed! Oh, it's such a chubby bed. The fact that he was indeed chubby made me distracted, which almost resulted in my death. I definitely underestimated the Batman. After that I continued building my Hell Bridge, and once I returned to the surface I built another tribute for a friend, which took until the evening of day 36. That night, the jelly deluge actually happened, so I collected not one, but 2 Dreamlight jellies. And I also spawned in the bright and colorful moon jelly wizard. The next day I also made a 3rd tribute, in the shape of a bean, and then I decided it was about time to kill a bee, so I spent the next few days, until day 39 clearing up space and building an arena. And on the same day I destroyed her little larva. After that rough start, I had some fun bullying these bees, so much that she had no choice but to die. I also decided that day to make the corruption barriers. Now, from my knowledge I've never seen any other YouTuber build a barrier around the evil biomes, so I'm going to explain how one is made. First you find your evil biome of choice, and then you dig around the ground. Now the distance that the corruption can spread is 2 blocks, so the barrier or tunnel needs to be 3 blocks from where the corruption was spread to. Basically this method ensures the corruption stays in its own biome and doesn't spread too far. The construction of all the barriers went on to day 43. And while doing this I also found some kind of spaceship in the snow biome. In the meantime I also got the ring, an absolutely amazing hard mode accessory. On the same day I returned to the clouds again and found a giant egg and the asteroid biome. After taking some resources from that place, I then made an extremely inaccurate star shotgun. But it worked quite well on bosses, which you will see in a bit. On day 44 I made yet another boss arena. And once the sun was gone, I turned the giant egg into an omelette. And now day 45, all the way until day 47 I'm putting together, because all I was doing those days was set up the cage for my AFK farm, though I knew I would soon have to return. On the night of the next day I challenged Sans, and once I defeated him I got a new pet. Ah yes, this is indeed Eins Owl Goon. I think we can all guess where I was on day 49. If not, let me just say bones rattling. Now you know. Yes! As it was slowly becoming morning, I upgraded my ice flute. And I combined my 4 bows into one. Now, from the dungeon I also got some sort of battle flag. And on day 50, the halfway point of the challenge, I activated it. What? Terraria Minecraft texture pack be like. Now this event has 5 waves. Each wave summoning more nether portals and enemies, including blazes, skeleton riders, and in the last wave a zombie piglin brute mini-boss spawned. At the evening of that day I destroyed the last nether portal and eliminated the remaining nether mobs. Later I also fought this ugly harpy. Back at base I also realized I needed some better armor, and this lapis right here would be good enough. And while I was digging around for more of that blue stuff, I came across the abandoned lab. The place where all of the infection started. It is now the next day, and I decided to complete my AFK farm, which took until day 55. Now all I had to do was wait for the jungle to grow, and I would have a very nice AFK farm. On day 56 I constructed an arena for the Granite Energy Storm, which were to spawn if I destroyed that thingy. Yeah, just like that. I finished the arena and teleported home to see a bloody boy knight peeking around the corner, but I decided to ignore it and instead focused on making an arena around the interstellar beacon. I was still building when another jelly deluge happened, so I had to teleport home. Day 57 and I'm in a dungeon again, looking for the last component for my falling twilight. I got the last scythe, and then I combined them all into one. It's day 58 now, and I wanted to get some big profits from my AFK farm. So I went into that little hole, stood and watched, just like you guys can enjoy the speed up. I AFK'd until the early morning of day 60, but it was worth it, since I managed to forge all of my primary weapons to Unreal. And afterwards, I returned to the fiery and scorched depths to focus on finishing a hell bridge all across the map. It took me one day to finish the bridge to the left. And then I mined some more lapis in the caverns. And on day 62 I crafted the lapis helmet, which meant I now had the full armor set. And this new blue certainly looked refreshing. Afterwards I built the rest of my hell bridge. I was back at the floating asteroids on day 63 and added a few more layers to my Starplate Voyager arena. And this was the end product. Next to that I also AFK'd for a bit. The next day it was raining slimes, and my minions accidentally summoned their king, which I took care of. Chippy Gaming also sold some very useless clothes, but I am wondering, how did he get these? In the evening I made more NPC boxes. Remember the bad luck shrine that spawned the Crimson? Well, on day 65 I built a foolproof barrier around it. Day 66 was a wasted day. I was just pointlessly chilling at a meteorite. And for some odd reason I built a huge stone platform. But at least nighttime was more productive. Day 67. Now, you might have been wondering, why am I setting up so many arenas around the map, but not finding any bosses on them? Well, I was expecting a visitor, or guest, however you want to call it, to help me out. May I welcome Color CG, the most underrated content creator to my world. So, since a while I've had my visions on supporting Color, and these last few weeks he has been posting some Terraria videos as well, including a 100 days. So I decided that it would be fun to have him over for some boss fights and other things. So I'm putting this day until day 70 together, because that's how long Color stayed. Well anyways, here were most of the highlights. Well, that was easy.
That's fine.
There we go. Now, so. Traveling merchants, actually. Already that. Yeah. This is the stopwatch.
Okay.
And it sells the stopwatch. Would you believe?
Fuck.
Oh god, the arena. Quickly now.
I'm under the water. Hello.
Now, the buried champion would have probably been very hard alone. I mean, it could deflect shots and summon other versions of itself, but it was nothing compared to what would happen next.
Yeah.
Wings, no way.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wormy boy.
This space worm certainly gave us one hell of a challenge. So much that Color actually died. Now I was panicking. And to showcase my fear so close before entering hard mode, I have decided to show the whole fight after Color died.
And the thing is that, because you're in space, you have your mobility kinda screwed.
I underestimated its powers!
Oh.
Come on!
Yeah.
And after that, well, this happened. Ice Fruit Gang, Ice Fruit Gang, yeah! There we go! Now that we were blessed even more by the Ice Fruit gods, we commenced our fight against the big and fleshy wall. Once we defeated it and got our new gear, I actually stumbled into the new corruption next to my base to destroy altars, but I saw that the barrier was failing, and while trying to fix that, Color was just minding his business, when all of a sudden... an 8 Oh god! That's a boss! After that surprise attack by the icy spider boy... Ah! Oh god! We headed to the other corruption to break a few demon altars, spawn a few new ores into the world. And hey, look at that! An ice feather! That would certainly be handy for later. And then Color went to the sea for some odd reason. So I went to look what he was doing. Oh, Color? What are you doing?
Just dumping some trash into the ocean.
Time to die. Die to these sharks. Die! Yes. No one dare dump trash into the seas. Yeah, don't dump your trash into the oceans, people. Although this was recorded for the Team Seas project, which unfortunately already ended, I still want to point out that doing something like this ruins our ecosystem and the world around us. So stop doing it! After that disgraceful behavior, the visitor was banished. Nah, I'm kidding, Color's a good person. This definitely wasn't an act or anything. Nah. Anyways, day 71 is here now, and I'm back into suffering alone again. And it is the start of hard mode, which meant a lot needed to happen, like getting ores, or building a barrier around the new corruption. But I guess I was occupied with something else. Yeah, the first thing I decided to do was AFK a bit. What a waste of time. Finally. That's what I'm talking about. After that incident, I found some more palladium and crafted the drill. I also decided to sell all of my old weapons. Day 72 was much of the same. I killed some spiders for spider fangs and looked for originum. Later that day I also made the spider staff. After collecting more originum, I made the originum picker. On day 73 I decided to make my own corruption in the desert. Hopefully for dark shards, so that I can craft the onyx blaster. After that I took a dive in the aquatic depths, and I found this. Later that day I also got a tiny decree pet. Aww. And we got a blood moon, but I decided to say, frig it, and returned to my hole, where I farmed molten essence and souls of night. And I also found and defeated my first Hellbringer mimic, but I didn't get the weapon I wanted. I AFK'd some more, and it's day 74. I decided to start this day off by fighting some Hellbringer and some merchant decks, hoping to get the SS Devastator and Scorn, two very strong weapons. I managed to get Scorn right away and reforged it to Unreal, but the SS Devastator unfortunately wasn't that easy to get. When I eventually got it, I tried to reforge it, which took all my money away, so I decided to stay in my AFK farm until day 75. Where I decided to give the reforging another chance, but again, without luck. So I returned to the AFK farm once again and stayed there till nightfall. And down into the caverns I go. But I didn't want to waste my time like those previous days, so I decided to map out where I wanted my hallowed barrier to be, and started digging the tunnel. I decided to stop digging when I reached the abandoned lab, since those blocks would prevent the spreading anyways. The next day I reforged my shark gun once again, but as you probably guessed it, without luck. Damn, this goblin is one ugly and greedy bastard. Oh well. After freeing the magic boy, I decided to continue the construction on the hallowed barrier. The construction was going perfectly well, until I found something gruesome. I present to you the Empress Den, or also known as a giant spider nest to me, which I needed to cross to continue the barrier. That there? Nah, doesn't count, okay? It doesn't. I had no idea about this biome and their enemies, okay? So I returned to get my gold and continued the barrier when, you know what? I said this was hardcore, right? Did I? Yeah, probably. Nah, let's scrap that idea. Hardcore modded hard mode is just too hard for me. Instead, let's add a limit of 50 deaths. And this cute death counter, which will hop up each time I die. I really apologize for being so bad and dying. I'm sorry. On day 77 I decided to finish the underside of the hallowed barrier. And then I wanted to kill some wyverns for source of flight. When this happened, eventually I managed to find one and kill it. And I made the frozen wings. Nice! One more thing. With all the killed spiders I crafted the spider boots and spider queen sentry. From day 78 until day 82 I made my new barriers around the hallow and the corruption. Yeah, that's a big time jump, huh? But now look at this beautiful, yet also so ugly map. After that I also had to make a barrier on this random small corruption. And then it was finally time to start my search for titanium. The mining went on to the next day. And I managed to make the frost chestplate. Now if you're wondering how I got these ice cores, well, they are a loot drop by the Borean Strider. And since color helped, I managed to get 2 cores. Yeah! I also sold all of my other useless armor, and I reforged more items. For the remainder of the day I expanded my arena platforms, and I made a tough decision. I just realized something, right? Died this often. I don't deserve this crown anymore. Once night fell, I challenged another giant eyeball, which apparently dropped a nuke upon dying. The day after that I went to investigate the location where the nuke dropped. Up next, I decided to return to the giant spider cave to build an arena for Aranias, the next boss on the list. That thing is going godspeed. What an epic feel. Anyways, back into the cave I go, clearing out all of the weaver stone for a suitable arena, and building the platforms took until day 86. I also swapped out some of my accessories. On day 87, I fought the ugly, huge spider. The boss was quite tough to beat, and it also died in a very awkward spot. At first I had the feeling that I wasn't able to get it, due to all of the Venomite's ore, which I couldn't break. But eventually, and with a fair share of luck, speaking of luck, that bow was a pretty nice weapon, one which I definitely wanted to use with cursed arrows. So that night I ventured into the underground corruption, kill some enemies and get some cursed flames. The next day I returned to my town and crafted some cursed arrows. But one thing was still missing. The Unreal Reforgement. So you guessed it, it's time to AFK. On day 89 I returned to my PC. And oh my god, that's a lot of weaponry. In my town of slaves I took my bow out to get reforged. And would you look at that? After that I installed yet another mod, Weapons Out, which just adds a nice little touch to my weapons and items. And it looks very cool if I'm honest. Anyways, I took a good look at my blocks chest and saw that I could use some of them at an extractinator to get some new loot. So here's a speed up to show everything. Yeah. Now this is big profit, my friend. For the remainder of the day I decided to make an AFK section, for when I decided to fight some invasions. Day 90, and I gotta say, it's a shame to see the first video to a new series come to an end. And it was quite refreshing to take a break after playing ARK for about 10 months, 24/7. The nostalgia was great as well. Alright, here we go, the last 10 days. That day, day 90, I was really looking forward to beating the pirate invasion. So on the night of that day I decided to AFK for a pirate map. And I mined some asteroids to use an extractinator. I then realized that a self-made jungle biome would help my search for a pirate map. But while constructing this I actually got pretty lucky. Talk about wasting your time, lol. It was raining on the next day, but that did not prevent the pirate invasion from spawning. And total 2 Dutchmen spawned. And I got an insane amount of loot. I even managed to make the Ring of Greed, arguably one of the hardest items to get in normal Terraria. And afterwards I saw another boss that I wanted to defeat. Cosnix, the Fallen Beholder. With my purified shards, I got a blessing from the spiritualist. On the start of day 92, I battled cosmics, and my bow absolutely tore him apart. After returning to base, another NPC spawned, who probably at that moment was the most useful NPC in my whole town. He sold me an ARK shooting rifle, which I reforged to Ruthless for more damage output, while I could now was use this rifle to shoot an enemy or boss and give them the ARK debuff. And then I would pelt their body with cursed arrows. Next to that we also sealed a contract. The rest of the day was spent making more shameless plugs. The next day I challenged Infernal. The fight went pretty well, but at the end, once that message popped up, I thought I defeated him. Turns out he actually has a second form, which I never knew anything about. And that meant I would have to do the fight all over again. But if I'm honest, the battle platform was quite scrawny, so I decided to make a larger area to fight Infernal in. And once that was done, I fought this ugly bat again. I was right! It really does have a second form. On that night I decided to fight even more bosses. The twins, and after that Skeleton Prime. After defeating both of them, I crafted a new scythe upgrade. Day 94, and I was getting more stuff from the Contaminator to craft gem walls, specifically emeralds. I then decided to fully increase my movement speed with more of those water plants, and I crafted a flamethrower, which I thought would be nice to use against the mechanical worm. On day 95, I built the thumbnail platform, but the green screen didn't quite work as intended, so I demolished it. Afterwards I used the veil glyph on my spider bow, which made it shoot even faster. After that I decided to do something a bit more relaxing, which is building NPC homes near my crafting base. And after that, the steampunker decided to show up, whom I bought the Contaminator from. I also explored the spirit biome. On day... Thanks, legend. As you can see, I was in the jungle, because I wanted to prepare a few things for the next 100 days, including a live fruit / Plantera ball farm and a Plantera arena. While I was lighting up the area, a solar eclipse happened. So at the beginning of day 97, I was back in my giant-shaped... But soon I realized it was a waste of time, since no special items except gold dropped. So I was back in the jungle to clear space. All until the morning of day 98. And on that day, another bloody eclipse? So I just did some things to wait. I revisited my AFK farm for the last time, dug my way around the abandoned lab. I found some fishing crates, which gave me more loot. And at the night I decided to do some side quests by fishing in the jungle. The fishing went on to the next day. Day 99. But I wasn't even annoyed that it took that long. On that day, I just decided to relax and have some fun with these pointless quests. Lol. Completed Slayer. On that night I challenged the last mechanical super beam, and I was right about the flamethrower being OP against this boy. It literally made its lifespan shorter than every relationship I have ever had. Is that sad? Probably is. Die! 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 Come on, attack me! Attack me! Die! When the destroyer was, well, destroyed, a lot of new messages popped up on my screen. But I think we all know what I did now. Mega Shark. Yes, the Mega Shark, which I reforged and gave the veil glyph. And now, take a listen at the speed. Killing the destroyer allowed me to do a lot of new things, and I decided to take a look in the abandoned lab. Day 100. The final day for this video. Thanks so much for watching this far through the video. After defeating the janitor and opening up the alpha sector, I looted my first 2 irradiated chests. Then I entered a room full of xenomite shards, and once I cleared that out, I battled a stage 3 infected scientist. I kept moving and looting, and even found a hazmat suit. I cleaned up the next and final room, and then I fought yet another mini-boss. We both killed each other, I guess. And once I returned, I opened up the Gamma sector. After that, I returned home and took a look at all of my new loot. On the late evening, I challenged one final boss, and that's it. 100 days of Ultra modded completed. This was very refreshing from the usual taming ARK dinos, and a lot of fun. If this video somehow magically gets 1,000 likes, I'll make another one of these. With that said, go check out all of my socials that are linked down in the description. And goodbye for now.